All right, everybody, welcome into another edition of the Auburn Sports Show. This is the Friday forecast. Every single time I introduce this, I'm like, is it the Monday morning takeaway or the Friday forecast? And I have to think about it for a second. This is the Friday forecast with John Samuel Shenker. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? Happy to be back.
You good?
Oh, yeah. Very good.
All right, we're going to talk Auburn, Missouri. I also want to get your thoughts on Auburn, Georgia, briefly, and then we can move on to Missouri. Plenty to talk about. Real quick, before we get into that, let's toss up the GameTime ad. GameTime, our show is sponsored by GameTime, gametime.co. Go download their app. It's a really awesome app for tickets for sporting events, comedy shows, different kinds of events, concerts, things like that. It's really, really easy to go, pick out your ticket, pick out your seat. They offer a guarantee. So if you were to find tickets somewhere else afterwards that for some reason you paid more on GameTime, they have like 110% guarantee, which is a pretty good deal. So go check out gametime.co, download the app. You get $20 off your first purchase. So use the code ON3. If you've never used them before, use the code ON3. So if you're coming down for the Missouri game, it's a night game. So if you're making the trip and you don't have tickets yet and you're kind of like, I got plenty of time, go check it out. I bet you, I'm not sure the ticket situation for Missouri, but I would think that if you waited into the afternoon, you could find some at a pretty good deal. I got to imagine Missouri's not going to bring all their fans. I got to think even some Auburn fans might up in the upper deck. There might be some seats that come up in the afternoon that might be a pretty good deal. We'll see. But go check out gametime.co, download the app, get $20 off your first purchase using the code ON3. And then as you see behind us, second show at Auburn Iron Tribe here in Auburn. We're over here on Sanford. We're kind of in that shopping center. Iron Tribe is located in that shopping center with Melt. We're right across the street from Lost Pizza Company. I'm just giving people shout outs, which I shouldn't. They didn't even pay for it. But anyway, we both go to Iron Tribe. It's an awesome gym. Come check them out. Some things they got going on. They have a fitness workshop November 15th. So if you're trying to get better at golf, or if you just want to get in better shape and do exercises to be better at golf, to kind of stay limber and all that, they have a Better Golf Fitness Workshop November 15th. You can sign up. They have Performance Youth Fitness for ages 8 to 18. So if your kids want to do some things to start being active, maybe they're playing intramural sports or little league sports or whatever they got going on, they have some youth fitness classes that I think will really benefit them. There's a women's health and fitness nutrition seminar coming in January 2026. So if you're a female watching this, or if you're a dude, you got a girlfriend or wife, there's a seminar in January of 2026 that's health, fitness, and nutrition. Of course, we go here. We know the coaches. It'd be worth it. They know what they're talking about. So it's just a way to basically like say, hey, all right, you can work out, but what are some other things you can do in terms of how you eat that will help go along with that? What else? Free week for Auburn Sports listeners. That's a pretty good deal. So you can come in here, tell them that you heard about Iron Tribe from Auburn Sports, and you get a free week. That's 6 classes. You could get a lot done in 5 or 6 classes if you dedicated 1 week to it. And I think if you did, you'd be like, that kicked my butt, but it's worth it. So we love Iron Tribe Auburn. Come check it out, and hopefully we'll see you. We're gonna do a show live from Iron Tribe every week. All right, let's quickly go back to Auburn, Georgia. 20-10, Georgia wins. We talked about not being surprised if Auburn gets out early, using the crowd to their advantage. But it's like it's just wild to watch these games and be like, it's just the same things happen. There's flashes of good stuff followed by flashes of terrible stuff, inconsistency on offense, defense hangs in there, you lose another game that you feel like you should win. What was your takeaway going backwards before we get into Missouri? Was there 1 or 2 things that stood out to you that you walked away from, a few days later, just kind of, thinking that was the turning point or the critical moments of that game?
I mean, I think we talked about it. We knew we had a chance to come out hot. You're up 7 points at halftime. I don't see how you come out flat in the second half. It felt like after the fumble, regardless of what happened with the fumble, it does not matter. You still have a lead at halftime over a really good football team.
Yep.
that you easily should have beaten. I wouldn't say easily, but to come out in the second half and have no juice. Defense played great. They always do. They are proven. I think they're legit. But to come out in the second half offensively and not put a single drive together, no points, it was kind of hard to watch that kind of unfold. It just felt like we had the first half, Arnold looked confident. The whole offense was playing really physical. In the second half, it looked like and we talked about that. We said you have to play them for 4 whole quarters because that's how Kirby is.
Yeah.
He's going to make adjustments at the half. He's really good at that, probably the best in the country at making adjustments. And it looked like we didn't make any, and that cost us the game.
All right, 2 things I want to ask you because, I think you're a perfect person to ask. You've been through it. The first one is we'll get to play calling and all that in a second. First question, the impact of the fumble, not fumble, touchdown that doesn't get counted, the impact of that, and then Georgia goes and gets that field goal. Hugh Freeze said after the game he didn't feel like the team was deflated, but he did admit there looked like a different energy in the second half. He did say that it looked different, but he didn't say like the locker room was just down in the dumps at halftime by any means. But regardless of what he said, as a player, that happens, and then they go and it's 10-3, and you're going, we should be up 17-0. The stats were in our favor. It's 10-3. Realistically, what's the impact of that from a player standpoint? I know everybody might be different, but I have to think you can't avoid some stuff in the locker room or you going out going a little bit down. You're winning by a touchdown, and yet I feel like the locker room might have been a little bit down. Like, what was your take on that? And is there anything that was lingering from a player standpoint, or is that overblown, or do you feel like there was some real lack of energy after that play happened?
I think there wasn't, but regardless of what happened in the first half, and I don't know what happened in the halftime locker room. I don't know if the players were ready to go and they just came out flat. I have no idea. But it just seems to me, just hearing interviews, like if you're the head coach, you go in and you squash everything negative that happened in the end of that first half. Squash it, move on. You want to play your best ball in the second half that you possibly can. And I don't know if that was said or not, but it just, with what Hugh said, he said it sounded like he was letting the players dictate kind of the mood. Well, if you think the mood is anywhere off in such a big and critical game for your season, and maybe like in the lifespan of Auburn football for the next couple of years, like that could have turned it. I think you have to squash any and all doubt moving into the second half, regardless. Like, you can't control it. It's 10-3. It's not 17-0. So, but yes, that can hurt you for a minute, but you have to move on. You have so much football left. Like, yes, you dominated the first half. You did, except one play that could have gone your way but didn't. And they only got 3. They didn't get 7. So props to the defense for holding there. But I don't know what was said at half, but it just seemed we came out flat. And if Hugh is saying that he felt that, well, then you can squash that. You can say what you need to say and get that out of the air to have a fresh and new second half.
Yeah, I was wondering, I feel like it's a collective effort at halftime. Like, certainly it's the head coach's job, it's the coach's job to feel and sense where the team's at right there. And then it's probably also the job of captains too.
Sure.
Like, I think there's definitely, it's not one or the other. Like, if there was a little bit of a lack of juice coming out, if they were a little bit bummed, that's certainly on the players, and I think it's on the coaches. I think it would be on both. But I watched Georgia put out their sort of highlight video, 6-minute video on social media. Like, they're everybody does these videos now after games, like if you win. It was pretty well done, but there's clips in there of halftime.
Yep.
And watching that, it kind of made it really clear, because there's clips in there at halftime. They're down 10-3, and their locker room at halftime was halfway fired up.
Yeah. You
had players going, that's their best shot. You had Kirby going, we're going to keep shopping. We haven't made them quit yet. And I have to think the Auburn locker room was over there going, man, we should be up 17-0.
Right.
This sucks. When in the reality, you're like, forget all that. If I told you that we're going to be up 10-3 at halftime and we're going to play the second half, would you take that? And everybody be like, yeah, let's go.
Yes.
But the way it happened, just that play, like I really do think it hurt the energy a little bit in the juice. But watching that clip Georgia released and watching their locker room at halftime, it makes so much sense. They were almost fired up to be up to feel like they were only down 10-3. It was such a big moment. Okay, last thing on that game, the play calling. So Hugh Freeze comes out on Monday and says basically, we called many of the same things, both offensively and defensively, in the second half, sometimes against the same looks, and they didn't get executed the way they got executed in the first half. It was a little bit – Hugh went backwards to me a little bit on Monday, whereas like I thought Hugh's taken a lot of accountability this year, going, hey, on us, coaches, on us. That press conference Monday felt like last year where he was like, we called a great game. We just got to execute. I don't know why we didn't execute the same way in the second half. I don't really know what to think of that. He's saying, hey, we called great calls, and sometimes we had the same type of calls against the same type of looks, and they just didn't execute. And I don't know what to think about that, man. I mean, first of all, like, they're going to be more prepared. I mean, when you saying we ran the same things, why didn't we execute them the same way? Well, the defense is going to be more prepared for it the second time around. So I don't really understand that. And then just like in a general sense, we're in year 3. If we're still saying stuff like the play calls were good, we just didn't execute, that it doesn't really matter then if the play calls are great. I feel like I was trying to think of like a comparison, and it's like, I don't even know if this is a good comparison, but I felt like it's like watching a major league pitcher go out and give up, he pitches 4 innings and gives up 6 hits and 8 runs. And he had a great like his fastball was on, but his changeup sucked and his curveball sucked, but his fastball was humming. But you can't just have one pitch. I felt like it's like, and then after the game, we write a story and we say, well, my fastball was on.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but what about all the other stuff? Like you can't walk away and go, I thought the play calls were good. Okay, but if we're in year 3 and guys aren't executing them, and there's like maybe a mental issue where mentally they're not engaged the same way, or physically they're not engaged the same way, that's all part of it. Like, it's not just, you don't get to just say play call was pretty good in year 3. Year 1 maybe, but year 3, I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling, but like, what are your thoughts when you hear those comments about why things didn't work in the second half versus the first half?
I mean, we said at the beginning, Kirby is so good at adjustments, and when his defense sees something multiple times, you can only run so many speed sweeps. You can only run so many of the same concepts. Like, you almost, when you play Georgia, it almost has to be a different game plan to where in the first half you have your set, and it was working. But then the second half, you almost have to flip it on its side and do a whole different, schematically, something totally different. Not changing your playbook, but just dig into different pieces of it. Because if you run this, from my point of view, and yeah, there could have been one thing different on the plays in the second half. It was speed sweeps, zone, and then the concepts, sure, he may have changed a couple. But most of the time when you hit them, yeah, we missed Singleton on one, but he was getting pressure, tough throw, get it. To say that in year 3, like, you should take ownership for everything because you have coached it for 3 years.
Yeah.
You have installed it for 3 years. You have players that have been here for 3 years. Not all of them, not all the big playmakers, but most of them. So I think that's kind of a tough look to continue to bash your players. Like, just for instance, like Kirby, that's never been his thing. Like, that's why he came out second half. Their culture, it was all about competing. Like, he said that at halftime. He just wants to see him compete. Like, I want to see that same thing at Auburn. Just compete in the second half, regardless of what happened. Just compete. You have talent. Just compete and see what happens.
Yeah, it was. I'm kind of with you. I mean, I can understand some frustration from Hugh Freeze. Like, I can maybe get him watching film going, man, that call should have worked. Like, in a perfect world, hypothetically, theoretically, it should have worked. But like, I saw one example was the speed sweep. First play of the game worked great.
Yeah.
They ran it in the second half, -2. And the clip that was going around, if you watch the play, the Georgia linebacker played it perfectly, chased him down and played. I mean, so it's like,
right,
man, you ran the same play, sure, but they reacted differently and they played it better. there were some plays. The Eric Singleton miss. Cam Coleman had a 50-50 ball that he didn't come down with. That I don't really fit. It's tough catch, whatever. There were some plays to be had, but I don't know. I just don't know what to think when you say, well, I called the play. I feel like you could literally do that every game. You could literally go, if you guys would have executed the play correctly, it would have worked.
Right.
And it's like, this isn't the NFL. I feel like it's, I mean, you know this better than I do. It's college football. There are going to be mistakes made all the time. Like it's not pros. I feel like if your offense is dependent on perfection, man, if you're like, we need every guy has to do a perfect job every time and then we'll succeed. Well, yeah, sure. But that's not the reality.
No.
I don't know. Like if your offense is that fragile, I don't know. I just, year 3, I feel like you've got to build in. Sometimes dude's going to miss a block or sometimes it's this. And I don't know, you got to find ways to overcome that. I just can't hear any more of the play calling was great if we would have just executed. It's like, yeah, we can play that game forever.
Right.
We can just do this every year and go, I called a good game if they would have executed it.
Right.
I mean, all right, dude.
What does that do for a locker room, too? I mean, if they hear that, they could take that the wrong way, regardless of how he meant that to sound. They could take it the wrong way. Like, our coach is throwing us under the bus, so to speak, for not executing. When, like, yes, they probably take ownership and on the film on Sunday or Monday, whenever they watch it, and say, yes, that's on me.
Yeah.
And maybe that is. And if you have, that's a good culture to have. If guys are taking, but if it's they have one too many guys on the box, or if the linebacker's just playing it right, like you can't. So it's hard to know without being in the film room whether
for sure
whether those guys truly did mess up or whether it was schematically Georgia was ready for it in the second half. But yeah, that can be a tough look without being in the room.
And I go more to trends.
Right.
Even if what Hugh Freeze is saying is, even if there's validity to it, even if he looks at it and goes, that was a great call, that was a great call, that was a great call. We're in year 1, fine. We're in year 3. So you have to, at some point, you got to take a step back and go, okay, how is it that so many games I feel like as a coach, I'm stepping away and saying, I feel like I called a great game. And there's not consistent execution. So that's kind of where I'm at. So if you're Hugh Freeze and consistently you have to go, you're stepping out here going, I feel like I called a great game, but we're not executing. Then there's something deeper. Year 1, fine, but in year 3, you don't get to just keep saying that. You've got to go deeper and go, okay, this is a trend. So what is causing the issues in the second half? If I think I'm calling a great game and guys are just not executing one half to the other half, why is that? Is it were we not mentally tough enough? Are we not physically conditioned enough? What's the deal? There's just something deeper when you talk about a trend. Then you gotta go deeper than just I called a great game, because we've just heard it so many times. I think that's my frustration, and I think that's a lot of people's frustration, is hearing some of that stuff and going, you got to go deeper. When you start talking about trends, there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
And it feels like we're having the same conversations and we're hearing the same kind of answers that we did last year, and that's not a good thing.
No, and not when you've gotten the talent. You're supposed to have the wins at this point. I'm not saying this is an easy schedule, but
no, for sure.
3 times in a row that the same thing pretty much happens in a way, there's something else going on. Like you said after the game, like they figure out ways to lose. Well, where does that start? Probably at the top. It has to.
It has to.
And it funnels all the way down. I don't know. I just feel like, and the guys seem to have responded well, like in the interviews I've seen with Arnold and Keldrick, like they responded right. And we'll see this weekend how they respond. But, I mean, it'd be a tough week in that locker room to kind of rally the troops. Like, you just fought in a really tough game after a bye. You put all your effort into that one, then you have to do it again the next week after a tough loss. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm with you on the locker room stuff. All right, we won't talk about Georgia anymore, but I wanted to get your thoughts because we hadn't talked to you since Georgia. All right, real quick before we move on to Missouri, we hadn't even talked about this, the Deari Austin situation.
Yeah.
I'm curious your perspective. We heard from some of the players that they all said the right things, right? We love Deari. Deari's a great teammate, but we got to focus on Missouri. And I even said this on Twitter. I said, I think, or X, I was like, I think players view this differently than fans, kind of like rivalries in some way. Like fans, you hate Alabama, you hate Georgia. Players want to win it, but like there's buddies on the other side. Like they view it a little differently. I kind of felt like that's this. Like players now understand this is a business. They got NIL money. They all want to play in the NFL. And so I think fans are more hurt by Deari's decision than the players are. Maybe that's my sense. What was your take on it? And look, full disclosure, I've known Deari since he got here, interviewed him. I talked to him, occasionally. I can text him throughout the season. He's a good kid. Yeah. I really saw both sides of it, really completely. I see both sides of it. What was your what was your take, just as a guy who's been there, been in the locker room? What's kind of your take on it?
It's hard. I like Deari too. I played with him for a couple of years. Yeah. Great guy, great teammate. I think the first thing that I saw, like, if you're voted as a team captain, regardless of what happens through your season, I feel like you should stick it out and be there. Fair. I understand it's not my career, and now with the portal and all things to redshirt, like, I understand to an extent you look out for yourself. But if you're voted by your teammates as a team captain, you need to stick it out for your teammates. Just because things got hard, now I don't know if being 3-3 had anything to do with it, or if it was just him wanting to play more. I don't know. And yeah, there's two sides to every story. But just from what I've seen, the reactions, like, if the players, it sounded like if you're not all in, don't be here. Yeah. Kind of situation. It's hard enough as it is. So, but I'm not going to knock Deari. I don't know the full story, and he's always been a great teammate to me. So but yeah, I mean, it's not a great look. I know the players are probably upset just from what he has been for them. And if you vote him as a team captain, you trust him to lead your team, regardless of if he's playing more or not. He got hurt, and then Cobb started playing well. That's part of football. Like, that happens all the time. You go to the NFL, I mean, it gets worse. You get cut. So it doesn't get any easier.
Sure.
And you don't learn those lessons the easy way. Like, what lesson you learn by leaving? I don't know. But it's a tough situation, especially after the loss. But obviously that was before – this was already happening before the loss. Like, I think this was before Georgia. This was in his mind. This was already there. Yeah. And then after Georgia –
I can tell you it was.
Yeah. Like, there's no way he woke up Sunday morning and was like, oh, I'm out. Yeah. So – and, he's not getting a lot of touches, but maybe that's not because of him, but it's more because of Cobb. Yeah. I mean, he's run the ball well. So I don't know. It's just tough as a team captain to see that because your team is counting on you to lead them, regardless of if you're the starter or not. That's even honestly more of a respect to you if you're not even the top back, so to speak, but you're still a leader. Like, people still trust you with that. That's kind of a tip of the hat to you, like, and what guys believe in you. Yeah. So tough situation. Just added drama to the season already, which like you don't need anymore. It gets harder and harder. But I mean, this is the world we live in now with portal, that guys are more looking out for themselves, and it's not stick out for your teammates, and so it's hard to see. It is.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know, and maybe it's something. Maybe it's one of those things where now Auburn or Hugh Freeze or whoever, maybe they need to have, maybe next time around they can have different conversations. Maybe next time around, if somebody gets voted team captain, you tell them on the front, or you tell the whole team. Maybe there's deeper conversations with the guys that need to happen on the front end of, this is the expectation. You cannot, here's what your contract is. Like, so maybe you don't run into this midseason. Not saying it's Auburn's fault, but maybe you could be more clear with, like, hey, if you come to me 4 games in and you say you want to redshirt, here's going to be my answer.
Right.
Like maybe you could try to nip some of this stuff in the bud before it happens, so they don't come in thinking they can ask for a red shirt and thinking that this is maybe how it's going to go, and it doesn't go that way. So maybe there's some more proactiveness that can happen. I know that Hugh on Monday, like after that happened, I know Hugh told the team on Monday, like he didn't go into super detail, but he was open with them in the team meeting, and where he kind of addressed it and was like, listen, guys, you guys are under contract. If you all come to me, or if you say you want out, you're going to owe, you might have to pay Auburn back. Like he did tell them that a little bit, not threatening, but just like
it's a
little bit of reality. And so I don't blame Hugh Freeze. You don't have a choice.
Correct.
You don't have a choice. I see Deari's side. I can understand my last year of college football. And listen, if there's anybody that I can have some sympathy for and sort of empathize with, it's Deari, dude. Like, he went through the Harsin garbage.
Yep.
He stayed when a new coach is hired. He could have left.
Yeah.
He stays into a whole new coaching regime. He bides his time behind Jarquez. He does everything right to the point of getting voted team captain. Like, the guy did everything he could do right.
Yeah.
And he's going, man, this is my last year, and I got 2 carries 2 weeks ago. I get it. I get the frustration. I really do. But I'm kind of with you. At the end of the day, it's hard to be. At the end of the day, if you were voted, I think you bring up a good point of the captain. The day he was voted team captain, he probably needed to internally make the decision. Mm-hmm. I'm here.
Yes.
I was voted team captain.
Yeah. I'm
here no matter what. That's sort of that obligation. Maybe if he wasn't voted team captain, I would look at it differently. But I'm kind of with you. I think when you get voted that, I think there probably should have been an internal sort of decision from Deari that, hey, all right, they've bestowed on me this honor, this responsibility. That means I'm locked in. Yeah. I'm locked in. So it's a tough situation. I don't blame Auburn. I think they, if I were Hugh Freeze, I'd have been like, listen, I think you're making the wrong decision, whatever. I hate it. We need you. But if it's what you want to do, you definitely can't be around. You can't do scout team and be in the weight room and take advantage of everything.
Correct.
And be there, because you run the risk of other players maybe, and it could just be a couple, but all it would take would be a few players to look at Deari and go, man, and get bitter. So you can't have that. My main gripe was how Hugh Freeze handled it publicly. That was the worst way to handle it. Just come out and go, Deari's he's not going to be playing with us anymore. We love him. He's awesome. It was a mutual conversation we had. That's that. Yeah. Don't say he didn't meet standards and then not explain, because then everybody's like, well, what did he not do? Did he fail a class? Did he get in a fight? Did he get arrested? Like, what did he do?
Right.
And it kind of made it sort of murky, and they felt like he was framed in a certain way. Yeah. So anyway, I think we're on the same page with that. Hate it, but that's the reality of where we're at, man. You're going to have more kids that potentially come to you 4 games in and go, and Deari was kind of punished because he's valuable.
Right.
If that's a 3rd string player.
Right.
Or a freshman that they're like, hey, we're going to play you 3 games and then we're going to redshirt you. Ashton Daniels right now is redshirting, but that's a coach. They mutually agreed to that.
Correct.
Deari's just valuable. So they're like, we can't afford to let you redshirt. We actually need you. So he's sort of punished because he's actually valuable. Right. I don't know. Anyway, it's an unfortunate situation. I think we're on the same page. All right, let's talk about Missouri. I mean, it's just going to be a war.
Yes.
Because the locker room, to keep the locker room, I feel like it's fragile. You come out and you were to get down 10. I honestly don't know how the team's going to react to that right now.
Yep.
I think it's going to be – this is one of those games that it's just win no matter what. Like, it's just – I know we all want to see the offense look like a competent group at some point. But this is just you got to get a W on the board, because it can change a lot of things. But that locker room and the culture and the energy, it needs a win in the absolute worst way, no matter how it comes.
Yeah, I wouldn't even preach about Missouri. I think this is strictly about Auburn this week. Don't even – yes, you game plan to beat them, But you cannot – this week is all about yourself. This is about your locker room. And if the leaders of that locker room keep them together and they fight for each other, you could end up having a great Saturday night. But I agree. This is last week was obviously a must-win for later implications.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. This one is a locker room implication all the way. If you lose this one, you're 0-4 in the SEC. Yeah, the schedule gets easier, but your culture is not getting better. So I just – yes, this is a huge game for the locker room. Could be a huge game for Hugh down the road if he were to, for some reason, if they were to get crushed at home at night, like that would look really, really bad. That would probably show that you've lost the locker room.
Right.
The guys have quit on you, which is sad to say, but that happens now. So. And we know how quick people are to pull the trigger on coaches and things like that. So, yes, I think it's a huge game, but it's all about Auburn. I don't think it has to do anything with Missouri. They're a good football team, yes. But I don't think your fans are going to make as big of a difference until you make them make a difference this weekend. I think you have to come out playing and encourage the fans to – because they gave it all they had last week, and they feel like, well, do I have to do that again? Like, you're going to have to motivate them.
Yeah,
to want to cheer you on this weekend.
I completely agree. That's the feeling I get 100%. I think the fans are they're gonna show up, but the energy is gonna be a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be you're gonna like I said, there's gonna be a few empty seats in the corner of the upper deck. Missouri's not gonna bring all their people.
Right.
Some Auburn fans might go, I'm gonna sit this one out. It'll be a good atmosphere, but it'll be a frustrated atmosphere. It'll be they will be much like the players. Like they'll need to see something good happen.
Correct.
Early. And it's just a fragile place to be. You can't get blown out, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
A blowout, and we're having conversations on Sunday about whether Hugh coaches the Arkansas game.
Right.
Like, in my opinion, because that goes to not just you lose. That goes to okay. Now I have to ask the question if the players are engaged.
Correct.
That's a whole different conversation to have. If that happens, then you don't have a choice. I think right now John Cohen's looking at it going, I mean, in all fairness, you played basically 3 top 10 teams. They're all basically one-score games. You had unbelievable calls that went against you. That's all true. That is all true. At the same time, the offense has not looked good and is not making progress. That's true too. And so a blowout would be like a material change. That'd be a dynamic sort of shift of, oh, okay, wait a minute. We haven't gotten blown out yet. The players didn't look like the effort wasn't there. Now that just happened. Now we're in trouble. So I do agree that would sort of shift the dynamic a little bit, but I don't expect that, mainly because the defense has shown none of that.
Right.
DJ Durkin's going to coach his butt off.
Yep.
So that's what the defense would have to fall apart for this to happen, which could it happen? I guess I don't see it. It's like I think the defense is really kind of keeping them in the game. But Missouri's wounded too, right? They're coming in on a game against Alabama. They felt like they should have won. They're still ranked, I guess, right?
Yeah. So.
And they got a good team. Ahmad Hardy's a guy that will have a lot to prove. Ahmad Hardy came in here last year, ULM, and was a pretty good running back. And Auburn recruited him out of the portal. Auburn could have gotten him, but he was going to cost a decent amount, and Auburn was already thinking about a quarterback and Eric Singleton and a tackle, and they just kind of decided, we've got Cobb and Austin. Do we need to sort of pour all these resources into a running back? And so they chose not to, and they could have had Ahmad Hardy, I think. I think he's going to come in a little bit motivated and all that stuff. Just feels like it's going to be a dogfight. 2 teams coming in here wounded, looking for something positive to happen. I think this win for either team could sort of change the trajectory. And look, if you're Auburn, it's a 1-game season.
Right.
It's win. It's win a game. It's get some positive momentum, then go to Arkansas and see if you can do it again. That's all you can do at this point if you're Auburn is go, can we win a game? And then can we reset? And then can we win another game? They really have to look at it as a 1-0 kind of thing. But I thought I kind of knew what to expect against Georgia, and we sort of did early on, and we were kind of right. I thought Auburn may pull it out. I don't know what to expect Saturday, because of just where Auburn's at. The locker room sort of sends me into a place of unknown. Auburn could win this game. Auburn could come out off to a great start, and there could be a jolt of energy like, yes, here we go, finally. And they could sustain it. And they could win this game, by 10 or 14. They could.
Right.
Or it could go bad early and they could get down. Honestly, I guess what Missouri is a 1.5-point favorite now after starting as a 1.5-point underdog. But I feel like that's what it'll be. It'll be a close game, I guess. But I really don't have a good feel for this one at all.
I don't either. No idea what to expect. Based off what I've seen, that the team looks to have responded the right way, but you never know until Saturday. Missouri's going to come in ready to play. They need a win bad. They felt like they had one last week with Bama. So you're not getting a team that is coming off a really high high that you could sneak one in and deliver a big blow. But I agree. I have no idea what's going to happen. I think this game with Drinkowitz and offense, I think you have to be very disciplined on defense. They do a whole lot of stuff from the Malzahn tree. So you have to be very disciplined in that all week. And then offensively, just play 4 quarters and don't care what happens. That's the only thing you can do. Just take it out and do the exact opposite of what has happened. Just play full 4 quarters, regardless of what's happened. You could be down 28 or up 28. Just play 4 quarters and then see what happens. And if at the end of the day you lose, then that would check it off for me to say, okay, we fixed what the problem was last week. We got over the hump of playing sloppy ball in the second half and come out and regardless of what Hugh calls, execute to the best of your ability and just see where you end up at the end of the night. But Missouri's a good football team, yes, but Auburn, this is a must-win in a big way.
Yeah, it kind of. Must-wins always sort of stay away from, but this is kind of I don't know. Let's say you lose and you win the other 3, you're at 6, 7. You lose this one, and then you have to win 3. You have to win 4 in a row. You have to win out to get to 8, right? So, and that includes beating.
Win out to get to 9.
We're at
3-3.
They're 3. Well, if you lose, so if you lose Missouri, you win out. That only gets you to 8, and that would include beating Bama. And you're asking Auburn to win 5 games in a row just to get to 8. You lose this game and you're staring 7-5,
6
maybe even 6-6, and it's Vegas expectations were 7.5 for the team this year. Most fans wanted 8 was the floor, I think, for most fans.
Yeah.
I thought this team was capable of winning 9.
I agree,
but I think 8 is where fans thought they should be, 8-4. But you lose this game, and like we talked about, the locker room dynamic is the thing that most worries me. You lose this one. Could Auburn beat Arkansas, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt? Of course, sure, no doubt. But you lose this, and I have no idea where players are getting in this day and age with the portal. You're gonna have guys behind the scenes talking to their parents and talking to their agents, going, okay, where we may make a bowl game. That you're going to have guys behind the scenes telling agents, hey, start putting feelers out. Where can I go? That's the reality of where we're at. That is the reality of college football right now. So if nothing else, just to try to keep that from sort of happening, you got to start to turn this around. Otherwise, I think the stuff, the locker room and the other variables start to go against you beyond just what we're looking at, like X's and O's. Can they go win a game? Sure. You start introducing this other stuff in there that becomes hard to control if you're a coach.
Yeah, I agree. And you have good players and you want to keep them. Well, only way to keep them is to win football games. You can have the money, you can have all the things, but players want to win. They want to go somewhere they can win. Well, I think this one, because if you lose this one, you have no room for error just to be 8-4. No room for error. That means upsetting Bama at the end of the year, which is always possible in Jordan Hare. And then the other 3 are possible, but you have to have – there's no room for error. You cannot have a down game. You can't – but how hard would that be when you've lost 4 in a row?
Really
that is really difficult. I don't – so
There'd be nothing to say they would do that. Could they? Yeah.
Right.
But there'd be nothing, like if I told you to put your money on it, you'd be like,
Right.
there's no reason I should do that.
Right. So in a locker room can be a powerful thing if it's pushed the right direction, but it gets so hard for the captains and the leaders to motivate when you get to that point. It's so hard because most guys are just, in this day and age, like you don't have to work for it. Like you can just leave, and it doesn't teach to stick through it and to build a foundation, and it doesn't teach any of that. So it makes it really hard to control a locker room and to influence one when you're not winning football games.
Yeah. So what you thinking? If I had to put you on the spot, what's maybe the most likely scenario that you think? How do you see it playing out?
I think Auburn wins. I do. I don't know what it's going to look like. I have no idea. It could be a slop fest. I mean, do we score more than 20 points? I mean, you would hope. We're great when we score 20 points. We win a lot of football games.
Yeah.
We would win a lot of games if we scored more than 20 points.
Yeah.
Which is a testament to our defense. But I'll say the same score I said last week, 27-24, Auburn. No idea. That could be completely off, but I have no idea what to expect. I expect a certain level from Missouri. Mm-hmm. I know their culture because their strength coach was here with Malzahn, and I know exactly.
Is that Ryan Russell?
Yes, I know exactly what they're going to be like, but I have no idea what Auburn's going to be like. I think we're more talented. I think we could play – if we play a good game, I think we can beat them by a couple scores, but I have no idea what's going to happen. Got to stop Ahmad Hardy. That would be point one, I would say.
Yeah.
Stop the train.
And Auburn did a good job of that last week.
Sure.
I feel like the defense just doesn't get – we're spending so much time on the offense that this defense continues to fight.
Yep. They're
great. Held Georgia in check in the run game, and they just
they're great defense.
They had some bad penalties in that Georgia game. There's a couple mistakes, sure, but I'm not going to bash them for holding Georgia to 20 and holding.
No,
they're fighting their tail off.
That's what I'm saying. If you score 20, our we'll win football games. Our defense is not going to allow Oklahoma with the fluky touchdown that should have been a penalty. They don't score 20. Yeah. So, our defense is phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean they're
playing well.
But I'm not knocking them, but to play that way every single week is hard.
Yeah.
So maybe at some point the offense might have to win a game. Well, if Missouri comes out hot, the confidence is going to go straight down because you haven't proved that you can do it. But that comes back to the locker room. If you can have the confidence and just say, screw it, I'm playing hard for 4 quarters no matter what, you could put up a lot more points than you think.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's funny, you would think at this point, why in the world would I pick Auburn again? I picked Auburn to upset Oklahoma. But to be fair, I just sort of wanted to be bold a little bit and go and pick an upset over Oklahoma, which they were right there. They could have done. And pick a upset. I really thought they were going to upset Georgia. I really did think backs against the wall, at home night. I really thought they were going to come out. And look, if they'd have gone up 17-0, I think there's a great chance they hold on to that game. Even if Georgia comes back, I think if they'd have gone up 17-0, yes, Georgia adjusts, but I think Auburn would have had enough cushion to have a drive. I think they got really deflated when that game got to 10-10.
It was again.
Yeah, I think they could have gotten one touchdown in the second half, something like that, or a field goal, maybe 2017. I don't know. But I'm leaning Auburn again. I feel like part of me is playing the averages. All right, if I pick Auburn every time, the one time, here's what's going to happen. The one time I go, forget it, I'm done with Auburn, I'm going to pick Missouri, and then Auburn's going to get it together and win. That's what's going to happen. Oh, man. I'd lean Auburn. A lot of people are talking about it feeling like the 22 game. That was a little different. That was really early in the season. And then there was about 4 or 5 games that happened between Auburn winning that Missouri game in 2022 that they should not have won and Harsin getting fired. Yeah. There was a bigger stretch, but that game was just kind of a slop of a game, and Auburn should not have won. I mean, it was so fortunate, right? The guy fumbled
going into the end zone.
It was a crazy game. I'm leaning Auburn. I'm leaning Auburn, but I mean, literally, I feel like the first quarter is going to be so big to either come out, get your footing, get the Georgia game out of your system with a decent start, or if you have a so-so start or a bad start and you just let it go downhill. Because, look, we saw what happened. Yeah. the fumble call goes against you at halftime, you have different energy. That right there tells you that they need a good start because that right there, the way the inconsistencies in Auburn football, it's hard to not say that they're like mentally, they're maybe not as mentally tough as they need to be. I don't know how else to explain the inconsistencies.
I agree.
And so, I'll probably end up picking Auburn. But this is one more than any of the others that I really don't have a feel for. I thought Oklahoma would win. I had fun and picked them. I thought I thought Auburn would win, but it could be close. I don't know what's going to happen Saturday, but I'll probably end up picking Auburn. I don't know. I'll go. Maybe it's a 2017 game. I don't know. I mean, maybe Auburn comes out and lights it up and hits some big plays, but boy, I wouldn't count on that at all. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking maybe 2017 if they can pull it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, it'll be a good one. 6:45 SEC Network, Auburn and Missouri. Pretty big game. I thought last week was one of the biggest games, obviously, for Freeze in the program. This is a monster one as well. Just to get a W, you just want to walk out. Literally, it's to the point that you just want to walk out with a win. Would you like to get the offense going? Yeah, but you just need to walk out with a win. And the guys need to feel what it feels like to just be able to celebrate and not feel down after a game. Whatever that takes is what they got to do.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we'll be back. We'll see how it goes, 6:45. We'll be back Monday morning with some Monday morning takeaways. Go to auburnsports.com and subscribe. Go to YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications. That really helps us, please, if you'll do that. We appreciate you. Come check out Iron Tribe Auburn. Come check us out, and we'd love to have you. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.